Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. In the second half of this week's Inside Star Citizen was a tease of Citizencon that focused on the progress in the colonialization outpost toolset for Pyro. In addition, this week saw the schedule of the presentations for Citizencon being published, so I will be covering both of these in this video. I had done a set of analysis videos based on the Pyro reveals a year ago, including one of my most popular videos on the question of what will make it to be a Pyro player. And between the lines of this were a lot of clarification on the issues I raised in that video. One of the things I noticed was that there are jail cells, in fact, quite a lot of them, and there was no indication at last year's Citizencon of any sort of brig at the outpost, but there sure is here, and that gives some credence to my suggestion that there would be some sort of prison system, but not as complicated as Klesher, but essentially kidnapping their enemies and holding them for ransom, a ransom that you would either have to pay yourself or be indebted to the rival gang that did. It is a simple system that fits the borderland society that does not have the resources to pay to feed prisoners for the long haul. Jared mentioned Rastar, but did not directly talk about last year's statement about eventually wanting to make it a user tool. I particularly felt that this bit was noteworthy. A repair and service station which, unless I am mistaken, has a gray box Valkyrie in it. Last year's Citizencon demonstration didn't have any landing pads at the outpost, which raised speculation on my part that the availability of services among the outposts might be scarce. The interesting question is what, if anything, separates this facility from the conventional landing pads we see at Stanton Outpost, which also do repair and service. If there isn't any difference, then what is the point? Might it be possible to have a pseudo-ASOP terminal here to be able to do storage and retrieval? Might there be some sort of limited component upgrades available for sale? The whole existence of this enhanced landing pad and other items in this segment appear to support my prior speculation that some of these outposts might be more comprehensive than the outposts we are used to, or as I term them, minor landing zones. Since none of the plans of Pyro have the kind of spaceports in cities like Orison, Lorville, Area 18, or New Babbage. One of the things that the minor landing zones might want to also have are Habs for logout. Now, this building, with its even pattern of windows, might be some sort of an apartment block. It looks plausible for the role, but what wasn't included was anything that suggested a medical clinic and a med bed, and if so, of what tier. A year ago, I took that lacking as an indication that they had none planned. But this ISC presentation was so deliberately circumspect that I just think that they are intentionally not mentioning it, for reasons I have no idea. Confirming that these minor landing zones are beyond the prior scope of Outpost was confirmed that the earlier version of this bit of toolkit was a refinery. But also interesting was the phrase, "and other producers." Producers of what? One possibility might be some sort of air filtration or water or sewage treatment process necessary to keep the outpost operating. Jared mentioned the resource management system, which also describes the way in which we'll be keeping our spaceships operating. So maybe these yellow items are engineering control stations, where we will need to make adjustments and repairs, reducing this from being a purely passive operation. Then there was this phrase,
build their credit empire, or should they choose, hinder the advancement of someone else's.
Does that mean that they are going to announce player-built bases? We knew that persistent streaming and server meshing would be necessary enablers of player bases, but I did not expect them to come so soon after it. Frankly, I'm still skeptical that player bases are still not years out. If I am wrong, though, I'd like to repeat the suggestion I made last year. Don't dilute the capabilities of Rastar to make them idiot-friendly. People who care about making good designs will learn a full-featured design tool, but make it possible for one player to design a base and then hand it off to another who just wants to build things. Because people who want to plan and design want to plan and design well, but those that just want to build will usually just be satisfied drawing a massive penis on the ground. But then Jared got coy and started pretending that he wasn't telling us anything more. But he did say this.
Massive Outlaw space stations that you'll be seeing more about later this year as our journey to 4.0 continues.
Massive Outlaw space stations? We have been teased massive debris fields, but Pyro lore says that the only space stations to survive the departure of Amalgamated Pyrotechnic was Ruin Station. He can't just be talking about ruined station because he said stations, plural. Is perhaps the massive space stations massive only because they are hidden among the massive debris fields, or are there huge pirate stations in addition to ruined station? Now, I strongly suspect that there is going to be a massive lore dump about Pyro immediately following Citizencon. This is a system that has changed from its original vision. Nothing wrong with that, and I suspect that the lore team has already written new content that covers those changes, such as, for example, the presence of massive pirate stations, where once there was only one derelict station. But they have been holding off on that massive lore drop because they want to show us first. Now, turning to the other tease, the announcement of presentations of Citizencon. Panel 1, Planetary Pyro. This will apparently be a planet-by-planet and location-by-location tour of Pyro. Not live. Nothing is going to be live. But honestly, this is going to answer a lot of questions about the kind of place Pyro is and what it will be like to play there. I'm not at all surprised that this is the one they are leading with, but honestly, this will be the third CitizenCon and the fourth year that the focus was, hey guys, Pyro's coming. Panel 2, Investigations Missions. The Elaine Ward investigation mission is still the finest piece of handcrafted content in the verse, so I'm very curious about this one, particularly how they can keep the replayability factor alive. After all, as good as the Elaine Ward mission is, you can only do it so many times. But more concerning is that this panel is on the pitch process. In other words, if the investigations missions is a baby, the pitch process is asking a girl for a first date. So treat this as kind of a behind-the-curtains look at how things operate in game development. Not a promise of anything you will see anytime soon. Panel 3, New Underground Missions. This will hopefully be more concrete than the prior panel. If all we get are concept art, I will be really frustrated. We have been dealing with the same one UGF setting for so many different missions that it is getting quite absurd. But if they are able to show us actual in-game experiences, I will be a happy viewer. Panel 4, Master Modes. This is a new term, but it sounds like a system that will allow you to change several settings. Power, max Gs, mouse joystick sensitivity, etc. with a single toggle. So you might have a landing docking mode, a dogfight mode, a takeoff mode, etc. Everything old just comes around new again. Panel 5, Loreville. Loreville has always been something of a troublesome place for frame rates, so I suspect that has something to do with to do a redesign pass. In addition, CIG has said that they really preferred the layout of New Babbage Spaceport over the landlocked character of Tiasa Spaceport. The big question is whether this will be a display of concept art or the actual city under development. The fact that the presentation is located well down the list suggests that it won't be the showstopper, so my expectations are set to the concept art level. Panel 6, Power Play. This is the resource manager, which confirms what I said about how keeping your ship running and keeping land-based equipment running will essentially be the same gameplay system. That we will just have land-based process manufacturing that will require manual repair and monitoring so it doesn't completely become passive income. It will be interesting to see the details and interface, presuming, of course, that details will be available to be shown. Panel 7, Talking Ship. Now, I'm hoping that this being the last is reflective of CIG wanting to finish strong rather than there not being anything really new to talk about regarding ships. The tease is a new twist on the ship voting, and this is what I am expecting. We've been through this long enough to know that CIG plans on producing all of the ships presented in the voting. They aren't going to leave open the possibility of us voting for a ship that they don't want to make. So I predict that the twist will be that they will announce that the winning ship will be on sale at the IAE Expo the following month. That will certainly amp up the interest level. So honestly, looking at the list of panels, my mind is drawn actually more to what is not there than what is. First, not a word about Squadron 42. How many years has it been now without a word on Squadron 42? The only thing we ever hear is that more and more and more of the manpower is going into it. The no spoilers excuse is wearing thin. You can reassure us that this isn't a black hole without giving spoilers. Second, no update on core technologies regarding networking and other back-end systems such as server meshing. Third, no update on the Gen 12 renderer Vulkan. Fourth, no update on the dynamic economy. Has Tony Z's team been doing nothing for a year? So maybe there isn't enough new information on some of these for a full panel, so just lump them all into one panel on core technology progress and updates. But don't just ignore us entirely on that. And now my own update on our Grow the Channel Ship giveaway. As of recording, we are at 86% of the subscriber goal and 81% of the membership goal, or this year's IAE Expo, whichever is first to arrive, to give to some lucky player their choice of the Anvil Liberator, the ship for shipping your ship, or the Misk Odyssey, the long-length look-ahead launcher lorry. One entry per video. Members, you're entered automatically, and if the winner is a member as of the publication date of the winning video and at the drawing time, remember that if you let your membership expire, they will win both the Liberator and the Odyssey. For non-members, just subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what Ray's Guide remembers. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.